G'day everyone, how's it going? Nemi here. Today we're going to be making an updated 2024 2A tier list with the recently released Harpus. So without wasting any more time, let's just get straight into it. Let's start off with the dogs. We're going to start off with Ikaru. Now Ikaru used to be up here in the 100% column, but unfortunately he's taken a small hit. He's somewhere in the highly recommended to okay tier. For now I'm going to put him in the highly recommended, as I do think the team up mechanic is just insanely strong still, so we're going to put him down here. Let's go on to Ramahan. Ramahan is very niche, but in my honest opinion, there's just better toys out there, so I'm going to put him in the no category for today. Let's go on to Rayok. Rayok is a 100% tier unit. In my opinion, it's very hard to find another unit that does what he does, especially in the fire category, so I'm just going to leave him up here. I think he's insane. Bella Dion. My biggest problem with this unit right now is you don't really need to 2A it to get its full functionality. You can probably get away with using this unit without its 2A. Like, don't get me wrong, 2A is more stats and it's still nice. But I'm going to put this down here in the niche or toy category. So I'm going to explain this category really simply for you guys. A niche toy category is mostly going to be something you're going to have to decide on for your own specific accounts. In my opinion, I would not build this. Like, if I started my new account just like I did this week, I'm probably not going to 2A this unit, but I might build the unit. I just wouldn't go the full extent of 2Aing it. But for now, I will put it in niche and toy. Bella Dion is actually perfectly a good unit and very useful. I just don't know if it's really worth the resources. All right, let's move on to Crow. 100% or highly recommend. That's a good choice. Actually, I still think he's really, really useful. You're still going to use him early on for pretty much every account. So I do think I'm going to put him in the 100% column. Crow is still a fantastic unit. All right, let's move on to the Griffons. For the first of the Griffons, Khan, in my opinion, is more of a toy. He is usable in PvE, in particular Siege and 4-star Special League. But his main job is to one-shot a fire unit or fight against fire teams. That's about it. There's other units that can do his job without the necessity of doing the whole 2A process. So he's kind of something you're going to have to decide for your own accounts. So the next unit is Shaman. Now, Shaman, in my opinion, is still in the 100% category, especially for TOA Hell, as well as some early dungeon teams, even late dungeon teams. He's still just an insanely good unit. In my opinion, the place that he actually does shine is TOA Hell. There's so many dark bosses in TOA Hell, and his S2 assault literally will just kill. You can pretty much one-shot to two-shot a boss with just him alone. So he's just really nice. Varus. Okay. Dark Griffon, in my opinion, is a no. I can see people building it. Its kit isn't particularly bad. It's just like, it's not insane. Like, you could probably get other things to do its job. For me personally, I'm going to put it down in the no category, but you could put it up here if you really wanted to as well. Spectra is still in the 100% category. Spectra's overall kit is still amazing, still usable in TOA Hell, still usable in your first dragon speed teams. It's also technically usable in some PvP areas, as Spectra's base speed is so fast. If you're fighting against something and they don't have any will runes on, you could technically just use this and push back the enemy. It's cheesy, but definitely has that usage. Bernard overall is still a fantastic unit. His job is performed well enough before his 2A. However, if you were going to use him in 4-star Special League or in something where you definitely need like the damage output, you could put him up in highly recommended. I don't think he's in the 100% category, but he's in these two categories here. I'm just going to put him down here just because I want something in this bar, but you're more than welcome to put him in any of these other two. I'm going to leave him here just for now. We're going to start off with Lucia in the Warbears. This is 100% a toy. Now, this guy has some very interesting and cool PvP and PvE comps. However, there's other ways to play the game. It's not insane. It's not necessarily, bad. It's not overpowered. It's just okay. Technically, you could put it here, but because it's such a niche toy, I think it's something where you have to decide that you want to build it. but you're definitely okay with not building it as well. Ramagos. Now, Ramagos, I think, goes in the okay tier purely because he's very, very good in siege content. Unfortunately, outside of that, you're probably not going to use him all that much, but he is really, really good in siege, so I will put him in the okay tier for now, but I could see people moving him down a tier, but I will leave him here for just today. Dagora as well is mostly just a water tank used in siege. I wouldn't be putting him in highly recommend. He's a little bit better than a toy, so I do think he does sit well in the okay tier, so we're going to leave Dagora here for now. Next up, we have Dark Warbear, which is Gorgo. This guy, once again, is he's in this floating category. His kit is actually really, really nice, but is he necessary for your monster box? Probably not, but if you did build him and you do use him, he is a good monster. I'm probably going to put him more into niche toy so that you can decide. All right, last Warbear is the fire one, Ursha. Once again, these kits aren't terrible. He's a very good turn 2 unit as he has an AoE provoke and is decently tanky. However, I do think he's still a more of a niche toy unit. I myself probably will never build one. However, I can see people building it for, you know, Special League or even Siege. So I'm just going to put him down here and you can decide for your own accounts. Okay, moving on to the high elementals. The first one we have is Kali. Now, in my opinion, she is 100% a build. She is still insane in so many areas of the game. She's best in slot in R5 as a leader skill, as well as just does really good damage. She has some interesting cleave teams you can use her in. She has some good synergy in a lot of other areas as well. So she's definitely a usable unit. So I'm going to put her up here. Next one we're going to move on to is Elena. Now Elena has the same damage skill. And honestly, you can pair these two together for a lot of siege clearing. Just absolutely just go in, pow, destroy everyone straight away. However, you definitely do not need her as much as the other units in this list. So I'm probably going to put her down into okay or niche toy. In my opinion, we'll put her in niche toy for now because, for example, I probably wouldn't build one. I do think that you could just get away with something else, but she is still a very good unit. Next one is Shren. Now, Shren is interesting because Shren is definitely better than Elena, but she's not much better. I think I'm going to put her in the okay tier in honest opinion. She's just, once again, a damage dealer, but she has a little bit more of a versatile usage because they have a passive healing skill. It's hard to say. People could put her down here. That's fine. I'm going to leave her here just for now. Moria, the next one is the wind one. The wind one, in all honest opinion, is a no. It's not even a toy. This one is kind of bad. The only good thing this thing has is a team up skill, but this unit just doesn't really have good multipliers and it's just not very synergistic in a lot of team comps. I do understand if people want to put this in toy, feel free to do that yourselves, but I'm going to put this in the no category. Same with the dark one. In my opinion, the dark one's pretty average as well, so I don't recommend building it either. Moving on to the fairies, first one up is Fire Fairy Azalea. I'm going to put her in the highly recommended list. Now, she's a very, very meta unit for the 4-star Special League. Technically, you could use her in some PvE areas as well as Siege. I just don't think she's that amazing for that area. However, I understand if people do not want to build her, you could put her in the okay column, you could put her in niche toy, but I do think that because of how insanely strong she is in the 4-star meta, I'm going to put her here just from my personal opinion. All right, let's move on to the next one. The next one is Dark Fairy. She's really bad in my honest opinion. She's like, you could potentially put her in niche toy, but I just don't see a reason to build her. There's just so many things that are better. Next one is going to be Alucia. This thing used to be picked in normal RTA. Back in the day, this thing was all the way up here. Definitely usable in Siege, so I think I'm going to leave her in the highly recommended tier list, as well as she's also very good in 4-star Special League, but she has a bit more versatility than the Fire Fairy, so I do think I am going to leave her in this tier for now. Okay, Wind Fairy. This is like a toy / no. So Eileen, she's kind of like this damage dealing healer, but you can just build so many other things. And the big crux and the whole point of this video is you don't want to 2A as many things as back in the day, because most of your dimensional hole energy should be used for rune farming and grind farming and stuff like that. I'm honestly just going to put her in the no tier, but you can change her depending on how you feel about her. The next one is Light Fairy, not to be confused with Fran. This is Neil. Once again, the kit is fine, but just not really a huge application to using her in these days. So I'm just going to put her down in the no tier. So the Light Pixie, her name is Cheryl. Her kit is just, once again, something that doesn't actually have great synergy, as well as being a kind of weird reviver. So I'm going to put her in the no tier, but once again, if you really wanted to, you could build her in the niche toy category, but in my opinion, she's a no. Tartu. So this used to be also another 100% build unit. So Tartu you could potentially build for speeding up dot clearing TOA hard, and she might have some usage in TOA hell. However, she's not as necessary as she was before. It really comes down to whether you want to save that, 20 seconds, 30 seconds per run in TOA, and that's going to be completely up to you. She does have a very unique skill set, so I'm probably going to put her in the okay tier, just due to the fact that blowing up dots is so unique that I'd probably still build one anyway, just in case I ever really wanted to use it. Now, Cameron is a little bit interesting, but definitely goes into the niche toy category or the no category. I know that she's been used in the past for clearing some siege content, but I just feel like there's better units nowadays. I'm actually going to put her in the no category. Next up, we have the Wind Pixie Shannon. She used to be a pretty good monster to build back in the day. Like a couple years ago, everyone would probably build her. You probably wouldn't even 6-star her, but if you were starting a new account, she was just so great for getting into your beginner's Giants B12 or whatever dungeon you were farming. I'm going to put her in the no category now. You don't need her to make a beginner's team anymore. Even though her kit is all right, there's not really any content where she's necessary. And she's very quickly replaced in your beginner teams nowadays. So it's really hard for me to justify building a Shannon in 2024. Next up, the last Pixie is going to be Casey. Casey is in the no tier. Funnily enough, I think this was my first 2A, and I was so excited to build her because she had an AoE defense break. And I think back in the day, I didn't have like a galleon, or like I wanted like a second unit that had an AoE defense break. So I was like, oh, she's going to be amazing. She's going to be insane. I've never used her. No, I don't think I've ruined her up. Tried her once. It was like, nah. So got to be honest with you guys, this is a no tier unit. Moving on to werewolves. The first one we have is Dark Werewolf. This is Jultan. In my opinion, Jultan goes into either the okay or highly recommended unit. It has a very unique passive. It shines in some PvE areas where it is actually the best in slot. However, those areas aren't necessarily needed to be farmed. It's more of a choice kind of thing. The other thing you could definitely use it in is Siege. It's definitely good in 4-star Siege, 4-star Special League. So it does have a pretty versatile usage. In my opinion, I'm going to leave it in the highly recommended tier list, but you guys can move it down if you like. Next up, we have Shakan. I'm just going to put this one straight down into the no tier. Interesting kit, not very good. Let's speed things up a little bit. Vigor. Vigor is still insane in 2024. The Water Werewolf has just got an overall great kit. You're gonna use this in quite a few different places. You can use it in Siege. Honestly, you could still use this unit in RTA if you really, really needed to. And honestly, beginning RTA, this unit is probably going to be in your team if you don't have anything else that's like, better. But it's honestly just a good unit, so I'm definitely going to put it in the 100% category. Escher is definitely probably the best of all 2As currently available. This unit is just insane in so many different areas of the game. He's actually kind of irreplaceable as well. Like a lot of these other units can be replaced by other monsters in the game. Escher currently still fits that role where there's no other monster that really kind of does what he does. There are some other AoE boosters like Kabila, but in my opinion, he's just still just a very, very core meta unit in so many areas. Garrosh is a no category, so we've got 2 werewolves down here now, but Garrosh, okay kit, never going to use it, don't bother. Miho has fallen down. Back when she first came out, she was a 100% build unit, and there was this crit bug issue that actually made every unit have more crit than they really had. And she was OP back in that day, but she's been falling down the ranks ever since then. In my opinion, because of her passive, she is definitely still 100% something I would probably still build on a new account. You're going to use her in quite a few different places. She's not going to be like highly picked, but she is strong enough that you would probably still want one on your account. So I'm going to put her in the OK tier. Now for Naomi, in my opinion, she's in the OK or highly recommended tier. For most beginners, you should still definitely build her because she's going to be a part of your first beginner Alunia B5 team. And it's kind of hard to replace her with another wind damage dealer until you maybe get something like a Dominic or Savannah or something like that. But she is very accessible early on the game, so that's going to take a long time for most people. Definitely putting her here, but I could see a reason to put her up here in the 100% category as well. But I will move her down into the highly recommended tier list. Next up, we have May. Once again, this unit is going into the no category. A lot of the 2As do have okay kits, and technically you could also see her in the niche or toy category, but in my opinion, I wouldn't build one, so I'm going to put her down here. Zhao Ling, in my opinion, she's slightly better than May, and she does have a very unique passive. Definitely could be put into the niche toy list. I'm not going to build her on a new account, so I would put her in the no category. But if you put her up here, that's perfectly fine and reasonable as well. All right, last cat is going to be Mina. She's going straight into the 100% category. Super high base speed, great damage, usable in so many different areas. 4-star Special League, 4-star Siege. Honestly, you could even build her for just regular RTA as a budget until you get later up into the game and you've got maybe some better replacements. But she still is just a fantastic overall unit, so I'm putting her up in the 100% tier. Quickly moving on, we're going to go on to the living armors. Fire living armor, iron, in my opinion, is a no. Once again, decent kit, just like there's just other units in the game. You could just build one of them instead of spending your dimensional hole energy, so I'm going to skip that. In my opinion, copper is 100%. This unit is fantastic for siege. You technically could get away with not 2Aing this unit, but I've got to be honest with you, the damage increase from non-2A to 2A for this thing is insane, as well as the fact that definitely once you get to the higher siege areas, so G2, G3 siege, if they're running a very, very high minus wind or some kind of trap defense, you might just need that little bit more damage output. So I would honestly recommend going into A in copper. For me, nickel is decent in some speed teams as well as some very niche / weird areas of the game. So I'm going to put him in the OK tier. I'm still using him in my Punisher's Crypt speed team, but you probably could replace him with something else. I'm not too sure about that for right now, but definitely a good unit. So we could put him in the highly recommended or OK tier. I'm going to leave him down here just for now. Next up, we have Zinc. Zinc is really good. You could put him in the 100% column because he is so bloody good for the other artifact dungeon at SF10. Last one in the family we have is Silver. In my opinion, he's a niche toy / no. I personally wouldn't build him, so I'm going to put him in the no category. Let's move on to one of our favorite families, the Frankensteins. First off, we have Tractor. Tractor is still just an absolute menace in Siege, 4-star towers, pretty much anything where you have a PvE element where you need to just tank something. Absolutely fantastic. Probably never going to change either, so I'm putting him up in the 100% category. Same with Bulldozer. Copper, Dozer, Amesity is still part of the holy trio that's been around for whoever knows how long. Absolutely fantastic for Siege. And honestly, still got some other uses in other places in the game. If you want to post on Reddit with the highest damage in the game, you're going to go and you're going to put this guy in highly recommended because he does the most damage in the game. He has a passive where he stacks up damage based off of hits. So you just sit there and get hit like a million times, and then you hit another unit for like a billion zillion damage. So you can use that for your screenshots. Otherwise, he's a no. Okay, it doesn't really serve a function outside of that. But hey, if you want that screenshot, feel free to build him. The next two units are more of something that I would recommend based on the pool of units you have. So, for example, Driller and Crane, they're both units that are very, very good with specific LDs. So, for example, if you have a Laura or maybe a Wedgeat or any other defense buffing unit, you could definitely still build these two units. They're pretty good. Would I build them on my account? Probably not. There's a potential for Crane to go up into the okay category. Honestly, there's a potential for both of them to go up into the okay category. But in my honest opinion, I'm not going to build them. So I'm going to put them down into niche toy. You would have to decide for yourselves if you want them on your account. Howl time. So Howls and friends. First one we have is Cha-Cha. Now, Cha-Cha could be put into the okay category. If you're a Siege player, I know that in the past, Cha-Cha has been quite meta for a lot of Siege, honestly, defense as well as offenses. But I'm probably going to put her down into the niche toy. I do think that she's fallen off quite a bit. I personally wouldn't even build one if I had a new account today. But I could see people building her. It's just something that I don't think is very usable as much as before. So I would just ignore her. The next one we have is Shushu. Shushu's in a weird spot. You could definitely put her in niche toy, but you could also put her in no. I'm going to put her in no because one of the other Howls, which is Lulu, we'll do her next actually, it does her job, but better. And everyone's going to build her anyway. So moving on to the devil of honestly 2019 RTA, as well as many other contents in this game. Lulu, love-hate relationship with this unit. Otherwise, she either procs every turn or resists everything. She's essentially your Riley before Riley existed. She is still fantastic, always going to be usable in Siege. For me, Lulu is as good as Eshir, so she's going to go up here at the front of the tier list. These two are 100,000 million% build. Definitely go and build these two units when you have the time for your account. Chi-Chi, in my opinion, is a no. Once again, just a very generic healer with nothing insane. Last unit here. Okay, so this unit is kind of interesting for Siege players. For most other people in the game, the Fire Howl, which is called Lala, is honestly kind of not going to be used for much. However, if you are someone that does get interested in Siege, you could definitely use her in the niche toy category. Moving on to the Grim Reapers, the first one we have is Hiva. Hiva is just a generic damage dealer. Unfortunately, when you are a generic damage dealer, it's very, very hard to justify using you unless you are either something that can one-shot or you just have damage dealt by either HP or damage dealt by debuffs on the enemy. Hiva, unfortunately, not really anything insane in his kit, so I'm going to put him down in the no category. Same with Prom. Once again, Prom does do a decent amount of damage, but you can get away with not building him, and that's why I'm going to put him down in the bottom category. Now, funnily enough, for Hemos and Thrain, the reason I'm putting them down in the no category is you probably don't need to 2A either of these for their job or purpose in the game. Both of them are more of like this dotting / CCing unit that is used in TOA. The last Grim Reaper is Sath. Sath is going to go into the okay tier. It's funny, he used to be up here in the 100% category. He probably could still be in the highly recommended category due to the fact that his passive is still just very, very good for speeding up, dot clearing teams. But I would still build one, but his usability is definitely a lot less than what it was back in the past. It's up to you guys, but I'm going to leave Sath in the okay tier. He definitely does have a bit more versatility than the other Grim Reapers. I would still build him on a new account. It's just I wouldn't really prioritize him as much as we used to before. Darian. Darian is highly recommended / 100%. It's honestly up to you guys. I personally think he's still in the 100% category, but you can get away with not 2Aing him and leaving him in just his standard form, and that works as well. but he is just really, really useful, and his passive is still very, very good. So I'm actually probably going to put him in the 100% category just for me. Next one is Jubel. Jubel is highly recommended. He doesn't go into the 100% category purely because he's a PvP only unit for Siege. If you're never going to do Siege, or you're not really interested in G3, then this doesn't you probably may not even ever build this on a account, because that is literally his only real function. Royd goes into the 100% tier in my opinion. His kit is just really, really good overall. Absolutely in the amazing still in for Siege, but he has that PvE usage as well. This is where I kind of separate him and Jubel, because he can be used in other areas of the game, where Jubel is pretty much just the PvP only monster, and that kind of kills some of the functionality. Alan goes into the no tier, generic tank that is not better than the Warbears, so I probably would just build 1,000 Warbears, or even Tractor 1,000 times over ever using this unit, so he definitely belongs down here. The next one on our list is Fire Vagabond, which his name is Cayenne. He also belongs down in the no tier. Generic tank with not really anything too insane. Definitely could potentially build him in Siege if you really desperately needed a fire tank, but you could probably get away with something else in most cases. So I would just probably not build him, or only build him if you really, really wanted to. Yeah, later on down in the line. Okay, we are almost done. Moving on to the Mystic Witches. Let's start off with Cilia. Now, Cilia is very close to being a 100% unit. The reason why I say this is if you use the combo of Megan and Cilia, you're essentially getting a budget version of Tiana Galleon. And if you don't pull Tiana for a very long time, then this is probably your only like free to play, very simple way to clear arena early on. There are other arena teams out there, but this is just one of the ways you could definitely get some points or rise up in the ranks during the early levels of your account. So I'm going to put her in the highly recommended tier. I still think she's pretty good. Her biggest problem is actually her AI. I did a lot of testing with this unit, and she was actually got a decently good kit for dungeons, but you know what? S1, let's just skill 1. Let's just hit them in the face 5 times. Yeah, slap, 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 slap. Yeah, what a great unit. Nah, she's really good. Just AI is atrocious. Megan goes into the no tier. The reason why I'm saying this is Megan does her job without being 2A'd, and 2A'ing her doesn't really give her any increased functionality or anything insane. If you really wanted to do it, you could 2A her. Like, if you've got nothing else to 2A, maybe you could 2A Megan. But in my opinion, she still goes down in the no category. Gianna without the A. She's honestly a really good unit, but I could see her being anywhere from highly recommended to niche toy. I've built one from my account, probably only used her maybe 20, 30 times. You definitely could use her, but there are better options than her out there. It's up to you guys, in all honesty. I'm going to put her in the okay tier just because her kit is still really nice, but you could see her in anywhere of these 3 tiers. Fire Mystic Witch Rebecca, she goes down in the no tier. Just a very, very weird kit, in all honesty. Potentially could be usable somewhere, but for now, just not really got any use or functionality in the game. And the last one we have is the Light Mystic Witch Linda. Now, Linda does do a lot of damage. Same with Prom. So Prom down here does a lot of damage, but this unit has a little bit more functionality than Prom. So I'm going to put her in the niche toy. However, I could definitely see her in the okay category, but I think this is more of a decision you will have to make for your own accounts. Okay, finally, guys, we're on to the last family, the newly released Harpus. Now, my opinion of these units could potentially change as they've just been released, but this is where I'm going to put them for now. Now, Cicero, I'm probably going to put her in highly recommended. I'm not going to put her in the 100% tier. Definitely has a great kit and honestly very usable, but outside of maybe Special League and maybe some Siege offense, I don't think she's like insane or anything. You could definitely build her. You could definitely use her, but at the same time, I could even not use her. You know, like she's just in that weird spot where she's definitely got a good kit, but you could also not build her and probably be perfectly fine. Okay, but good unit overall. Next one, we're going to do the Light Harpu. The Light Harpu, whose name is Sia. I personally think this is a no, but I've seen so many people building this that I'm going to leave it into niche toy. I'm going to maybe reevaluate my opinion of this unit, but for right now, I guess we'll just leave her here. Honestly, I was actually going to put Colleen in the no category because I didn't really feel like it was necessary to 2A her. However, the branding on S2 is actually really nice for beginner R5 teams, and honestly, even some of the later R5 teams as well. You just got to be careful about maybe some of the speed tuning and stuff like that. But at the same time, I personally think that I would 2A a Colleen on a new account, so I'm going to leave her in the OK column. The last two, Seren. This is definitely the winner of the Harpus. I personally think this unit is fantastic. You're probably going to be using it in Necro. It definitely has functionality in, honestly, even normal RTA as well as Siege and some other contents. Like, this unit, in my opinion, is insane. It has a defense break leading into a team up ability, which is just such an easy way to just nuke one unit. I think she's going to be fantastic for newer players to build into heavy turn 2 teams, as well as usable in Necro and lots of other PvE places, in all honesty. So yeah, definitely should build her. And finally, the last one. This is the one I am currently building on my new account. This unit, who is called Seal, is probably a no. However, I'm going to explain my reasoning about why I'm building her and what potentially could be her use for people that are starting the game. She has a double AoE skill. And for people starting out in the game, a lot of people will build a Dragons team first and then slowly move on to Giants Abyss. I actually prefer going straight into Giants because Giants is the dungeon you're going to be farming like 70 to 80% of the time. The reason why she's actually pretty good there is her kit really does work well for clearing the first few waves, and she'll safely get you to the boss. This also means you don't have to fuse a Sigmaris and skill him up, so you can save some of your Devilmon. I am going to try testing out this unit, and I might reevaluate my opinion. Honestly, I could put her in the OK tier if I really wanted to, but I'm going to put her down in the niche toy. Finally done with the tier list. This is going to be all for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. As I said, just keep in mind that some of these units can move up or down a tier depending on how you feel about them, but I do think this is a pretty good, rough overall evaluation of where these units should be. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the new Harpus, and get onto Seren. She's absolutely fun and amazing. You're going to love her. Peace out.